We got something for you. And before I do any of that, I'm going to check on my own page, because the last time I did one of these videos, for some bizarre reason, which I have not yet been able to fathom, it actually showed up. There was no video and no sound. So I just want to make sure that this time we are cooking with gas and that it's actually appearing. So I'm just going to go to my page, do a refresh, and yes, it's actually appearing. So brilliant. So it's working. Fabulous. And there might have been a little glitch in the system. So where do I start with this one? Oh my God. So I'm doing a remote experiment. Some of you, if you're on my e-newsletter list, you've heard me talk about it over the last few weeks. And I ran a webinar on Thursday. Today is Saturday, if you're watching this in real time. So the webinar was 2 days ago. However, just before that, a friend got in touch and said, oh, hey, I saw the thing about the webinar. You're not by any chance doing the, using this particular device? And I went, yes, I am actually. And they said, oh, been looking at it, quite interested. And then we kind of got chatting. And they said their dad hasn't been very well, been in hospital for a while, and is unresponsive. So so we're chatting, and they said, well, do you think it could work for that? And I said, I have no idea. I'm experimenting just to see what's going to happen. But tell you what, because the energy experiments, because each person who's doing it gets a week, 7 days. So I said, tell you what we're going to do. Before I officially start, why don't I just put your dad into the scalar energy field? Let's see what happens, and that's what I did. Now, I then had a call. Let me bring this up. I'm going to show you. This is what I'm looking for. So I then had a call from them, really excited. So I did the energy session on Thursday, the 23rd of May, 2024. They phoned me on Friday, the 24th of May, 2024. So that was within 24 hours. Actually, it's a bit, hang on, not a very good angle there. So the writing is really scrawly because they were really excited and talking really fast. I was like, oh my God, I need to write this down. So what they said, what that says, I've got my my black and red notebook here. So they said, oh my God, it's like night and day. His composure looked like himself. He looked like he was actually speaking. And before that, he looked like he was somewhat at death's door and ready to go, as in ready to die. So ready, he looked like he was at death's door, ready to go. He now looks like himself. He's gone from spaced out and completely no clue to present. I've not seen him looking like that for a while. And I was, he was doing like a phone FaceTime. So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow, 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 wow. And, fabulous, cool. Now, as I said, everyone who's taking part, I'm just putting the schedule together. So I'm going to send you the date. You each get a week. So I've just put them all on the, I'm going to cover that up so you can't see who, hang on, to make sure. So what I'm doing is I'm putting you all on the calendar. So I can map when your week is, and I can tick off when I've done each thing. So on the first day we do the remote scalar. The second day we have a break because we want to kind of ease your system into it, but you get 12 hours on the first day. On the third day we go back to the pure scalar again. That's 12 hours. On the Thursday, because it's running Monday to Sunday, on the Thursday we do the Huna session. On the Friday we do the molecular. So that could either be, if you've sent the nail clipping in, we'll use that. Or we'll use frequency harmonics, depending on what you want to work on. We'll choose the frequency that matches that. Could also use aromatherapy oils, depending on what you're working on. And you can put vitamins into the molecular field as well. On the Saturday, we're back to the scalar. And then on the Sunday, we do the scan and the review. And if there's, I'll do some dowsing on that as well. And if I kind of feel that there might be something useful, then we'll maybe choose another frequency. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, this here, his father was in the energy field for 15 hours. So basically just the 1 day compared to what you're going to be doing for the 7 days. I then got another message today, and they've given me permission they said I can share the feedback. So the message I got today says, spoke with the person who actually saw them, went to see them physically. And they shared that yesterday, Dad was really present, like he hasn't been in a really long time. It was a dramatic change, and he even drank a full cup of tea, which he hasn't done for months. He was able to talk, still a bit slurred, but it was more intelligible than has been for many weeks. And he looked conscious and alert in a way that he hasn't done for weeks. So, given that, hasn't done this for weeks, and then we do this energy experiment, and what I did with this, I did a combination. I'm like, well, let's give it a bit of everything. If he's at death's door, we've got nothing to lose. So I did the scalar energy, HUNA, molecular, using a particular, let's call it a vitamin, and also did the frequency harmonics as well. So the frequency, I chose like a full body harmonic because they're ill. They're just, you know, as I said, almost comatose and unresponsive. So we had a bit of everything going on during that 15 hours. But I'm going to say, from my perspective, that is just wow. And I shouldn't be surprised, because I've been doing the HUNA energy clearings for nearly, you know, over 20 years now, well, coming up to 20 years. And so I've seen so many incredible, miraculous, amazing things happen, even when people are just listening to an MP3 recording that I recorded years ago. However, this is the first time that I'm putting all of these different technologies together, and not just using the HUNA, but giving it an energetic frequency boost. So let me just show you this in terms of, I did a free webinar. The URL is going along the bottom, so please feel free to register, watch the webinar. It runs for 90 minutes, hour and a half, and I explain exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, all the rest of it. But we're using scalar energy. So in terms of what it is, this Tesla said it's radiant energy, primal force energy in the universe, standing energy or universal waves, which can be transmitted without loss. So that's one of the things that makes it really exciting. In the same way, I can do a HUNA session with a client who is out in Australia and they can feel it. Scalar is, I would say, the equivalent of that from an energetic, as in, you know, frequency point of view. And it's something that can be harnessed. And the reason we're calling it's the kind of spooky quantum entanglement, as I explained on the webinar. Actually, let me see if I've got that one here as well. Let me, where would I put that? Oh, yes, I have. So let's, thank you, Tesla. You're fabulous. So the reason I've been calling it spooky as well, as that's the brand name, but also is kind of where it comes from. Einstein saw this phenomenon, could not explain it, so he called it spooky action at a distance. So what we're doing here is, let's say if Einstein had, let's say, split an atom, for example, or molecule, spun this one here, this one would also spin at the same rate velocity, even though they were separated, and they could be separated at great distances. So that's the principle, together with the Tesla ideas that we're tapping into with regards to this. Now, if you do want to catch the webinar, let me give you a little overview of some of the things we included. So we looked at what is a remote experiment, why am I doing it, what's the underpinning, what is the scalar energy we'll be using. Now it says 5-day experiment, it's actually 7 days. What can you expect? So we went through some of the things that this energy has been beneficial for, and I've said it during the webinar, I'll say it again, we're not making any healing claims. The supporting modality, because there are two things I think would be a really good accompaniment to this. One of them is HUNA. We did a HUNA energy clearing just to finish off, and I had a really lovely email from someone who was on the webinar saying they weren't feeling all that on the day of the webinar, and after the HUNA, they woke up the next day kind of feeling themselves, which is great. And then we talk about the next steps and the rollout. So what I'm doing right now is, when I finish this Facebook Live, I will be sending you a schedule, your particular schedule. So I'll tell you the start date, the finish date, and then you'll get a little grid telling you what we're going to be doing each of those days, so you can mark it in your calendar in terms of your personal week, because each person that's taking part gets an individual week. So the later you booked, the further you are down the schedule, but we will get there. And as you know, as people signing up, we're starting with the HUNA energy, and you will know also, for those of you who've worked with me before, there is something really powerful that happens when you go, yes, I'm in. I've lost count of the number of times where people say, Marilyn, I was just thinking about signing up for your workshop. I did it, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Because, you know, the kind of energy and the vibe gets going the minute you're in. So that's going to be interesting. But that's what we covered on the webinar. Is there anything else I want to show you here? Yeah, and in terms of, this will be a nice visual representation of what I mean in terms of how does it work. It's that similar principle to the remote HUNA sessions, but this is taking the frequency in a whole different dimension. And so you, the client, are placed in the scalar energy field, the quantum entanglement, the bioresonance. Let's say if you sent the nail clippings in, that really comes into it, but is that the whole thing about the spooky action at a distance. But I'm just blown away with that result. That is absolutely amazing. Because the clients said, it's almost like they just want a kind of a glimpse of who their father was, and, you know, all that sort of thing. So that's exactly what happened. It'll be really interesting to see. So I took them off the frequency the next day and put them back on it again today. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And the conversation, of course, we've had is it may just be making the transition easier, but it's really lovely that they got what they requested in kind of seeing that the glimpse and seeing their dad more of the way he used to be. So I think that's really lovely. So yeah, so for those of you who are taking part, it starts this Monday, and so I've just mapped out the first 5 weeks of the thing, and I'll finish off later, and then I'm going to ping you all the email, so you will get the email with your week and what we're actually doing. So exciting. And thank you to the person who sent the feedback and the update. I really appreciate it. And that's really nice, actually, because this is an experiment. So I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And now we have a first glimpse before we even start. It was impromptu. I hadn't planned to do that, but I do, as you know, like to test things out before I use them with clients. But this one, the test was going to be what we're doing now. So it was really fortuitous. I'd say a nice dose of synchronicity to have the opportunity to see it in action and to have some initial results to share with you. And of course, results are going to vary. I have no idea what's going to happen. And yeah, so as I said in the webinar, notice what you notice. I shared with you also the thing that happened with my eyes, which was like, whoa, it's almost like I could not believe my eyes. So that's all on the free webinar, and it's a long URL. So if you're in my e-newsletter list, then I sent an email out this morning. So the replay link is in there. If you're not, you can also go to my main website, transformationstm.com. That's www.transce, F for Freddie, so FORMATIONS, so transformationstm.com. There's a red Watch New button at the top. So if you click that, a panel will slide out. Have a little bit of a scroll, and you'll see something about the remote experiment webinar replay. And there's one place left if you wanted to take part in the energy experiment, and the link for that is on the webinar replay page, so you can check that out if you wanted to take part in the action experiment. I'm also going to be running an in-person workshop where I'm going to bring all of the kit and the tools with me, well, most of it, and some of the various things that I've used over the years that have been transformational. And so that's a full day. It's going to be like a little bit of a circuit. You know, when you go to the gym and you do that circuit where you do some time here and some time here and some time here and some time here. So I'm going to bring all the equipment, and you can have a good hour or so with each piece of equipment. And with one of the lasers I'm using, for example, it runs a 4-minute cycle. So really quick, but 4 minutes is very, very effective. So all of that's happening. The date for that one isn't set yet, because what I want to do is get everyone booked on. So I've got 2 places left for that. So get everyone booked on, and then we'll decide a date that everyone can do, because this is in person for the health activation day. And then we'll choose a date that everyone can do. So that's the way that's going to work. But with the remote experiment, that gets started on Monday, this coming Monday. All right, well, I just wanted to share that with you, give you a little bit of an insight into what's coming up, so you get a taster of potentially what to expect. As I said, everyone's going to have different results, and let's notice what we notice. Right, well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Here's to our health and well-being. Marilyn Devonish, the Neuro Success Coach and Futurist, over and out, and happy healing. I'll see you in a bit.